I like to thank the grace of heaven, the virtues of the masters, and the compassion and mercy of the grand predecessors, transmitters, lecturers, temple masters, and everyone for giving me this opportunity to talk about today's topic, which is the Classic of the Way and Virtue, or Dao De Jing, chapter 28. It's called, well, the title is, the chapter is called Eternal Virtue, 常德, or you can say everlasting virtue, constant virtue. Okay, so, all right. Okay, so it's it's a moderately long chapter. It's almost as long as the previous week. It's divided up into 3 sections, and it repeats. 4 sections, with the last section being the conclusion, and then the first 3 sections are his, you can say, his analysis or proposition, but they repeat. Okay, in one respect, in terms of, oops, okay, that's lined up. Yeah, okay, in terms of discussing about what, how eternal virtue comes about. Okay, and so it's the first 3 sections are identical in terms of the construction. Okay, so that's how you analyze the chapter. So he starts from the detail, well, from the, not the detail, but talking about the duality, maybe that's a better term, duality, and what it becomes, and the eternal virtue that results from it, and what the result is, what the condition is for that eternal virtue to arise. Okay, so it repeats in the second section and third section. So the construction is same. So, but he's talking about the same thing, and he's just using different perspectives. Okay, different perspectives. All right. So that's how you understand this chapter. And then the last section is the conclusion. Okay, so that's basically the overview. Okay. All right, let's go to the outline. Okay. All right. So in first section, the first 2 phrases. Well, to remember. Well, I do it in half and half. Okay, I do the first half of the section, and then, okay, so the first half is, this is the duality. Okay, and then what it is. Okay, what's like. Okay, so it's to know the masculine and hold to the feminine, be the watercourse of the world. Okay, so, all right. Now, this word 雄, it means male or masculine, but it can also mean, mighty, grand, powerful, heroic, etc. All right, and then this qi means female, feminine, gentle or soft. Okay, so what's that mean? To know the male or masculine and to know the feminine. Basic meaning is this: it's to know the yang. The male represents the yang, and hold to the yin, or the feminine. Okay, yeah. So another understanding is the yang and yin are not meant as males and females. Okay, so he's not, because male and female is very specific. So that yang and yin is broad. Okay, so it's rather as the complementary male-like and female-like energies and qualities. So the yang traits such as heroism, they call it, and yin traits such as fertility. Okay, so it's very broad. So Lao Tzu is trying to, he's not going to that, specific narrow, gender level, but rather the broad strokes, the generic ideas of complements. Okay, positive, negative, yang and yin. Okay. Additional understanding is to know the masculine, which is the yang principle, is to know how to take the initiative, proactive, right? Push ahead, be decisive and action oriented when that is the appropriate thing to do. Okay, so the key is when it's appropriate. To hold the feminine or the yin principle is to hold on to the skill of yielding at the right time. Once again, what's the proper moment? Being flexible, having patience to wait, again, when it is appropriate. Okay. Okay, the deeper meaning of Xiong is it represents part of the yang quality, such as movement. Okay, that's what the yang principle implies. Okay, movement, which is part of our grand aspiration to be able to make unceasing efforts to improve ourselves. Okay, so that's a very ideal, very positive quality. Okay, the deeper meaning of qi, right? It's to represent part of the yin qualities such as stillness. So that's the commentary, right? The yin quality is stillness, whereas the yang is movement or motion, which is part of the essence, right? The stillness represents our essence, right? The the unperturbed, right? The unperturbed essence, right? The unconditioned, non-conditioned view. Okay, so it represents this yin principle represents the serene and tranquil state. Okay, so the deeper understanding of this first two phrases is to know the two sides of the duality. There, that is the yang, the movement, the yin, the stillness, but not to be attached to either side. Okay, or not to dwell on just one side or the other. Okay, and that is to be able to enter the middle way, the middle path. Okay, so you have to, you cannot be attached or dwell on either side. You just have to know that there's both, that there are two sides. And so there's something that there's a balance of the two. That is the middle path. Okay. All right. Further understanding, to know the yang and hold the yin is to have the essence and its uses. Okay. Okay. So the yin, to hold the yin is to, you can say, to be with the stillness, okay? Being in stillness or, in the serene and tranquil state, and yet have, same time, its functions, i.e. the motions, the movements, the actions, okay? That comes from that stillness. So to engage in actions while remaining calm and tranquil. Okay. So this is very broad, right? Okay. Let's go to the last phrase, the third phrase. Okay. Okay. This word, she, okay. She, this last word, okay, represents, it in the literal meaning, if you look up a dictionary, it just means a flowing river or, water, stream, creek in the middle of a valley. Okay. But in the ancient usage, it just means it's a mountain stream. It's a gorge or valley. Okay. That's what it means. It's a stream. It's a stream in a valley, you can say. Okay. So basic meaning is you would be the one who naturally attracts everyone, like the water course that all the rivers flow in. See, so this mountain stream, if you will, because it's in the valley at the lowest, near the lowest point. So all the waters, either from the mountain sides, the side of the mountains, or from other areas that are higher, will flow down to this mountain stream. Okay. So, all right. So another meaning of this third phrase is that the middle path embodies the one, which is from the first two phrases, the yang and yin, right? It's combined. It's all merged together. Okay. So the third phrase is the one encompasses everything, essence and myriad functions, right? The yin and yang, like all the river waters that flow to the deepest part of the valley, the concentration, the focal point or nexus of positive potentialities. Okay. So that's what the stream means. Okay. That mountain stream. Okay. So that's what the third phrase means. There's a deeper meaning of the of the mountain stream. Okay, so from externally, it's the central point where social interactions flow together. Yeah, you're the focal point, the locus, okay, of all social interactions. Okay, internal is being at one with the essence and all its functions. So that's the oneness. Okay, that's what that deeper meaning means. Okay, internally. Okay, deeper understanding of the third phrase is as long as you are in the lowest position, that is the deepest part of the valley, right? The waters of all the rivers will gather at the lowest part of a valley. It's the confluence point of all positive potentialities, okay? Higher understanding is to know the Yang principle is to make unceasing efforts to improve oneself, to constantly strive to become stronger. To hold the Yin principle is to keep to the stillness of the essence. That is the emergence of the essence and all its functions, okay? So that's what this whole phrase, the first half, means, okay? The implication. To know the Yang principle and hold the Yin principle is to have the essence and then to know how to utilize it. Yeah, okay, you have to, because there are functions or applications of this essence. And able to know Yang and hold the Yin is like all the waters of the rivers flowing to the valley, the focal point, okay? Oneness, if you will, okay? Okay. Able to know the Yang and hold the Yin is keeping the stillness of essence, the Yin, and knowing how to apply its functions, which is the Yang, is to encompass the entire Yin and Yang, which is everything, the entire cosmos, heavens and earth. That is the middle way, okay? So that's the first half of the section 1. Okay, second section. Now he repeats the this third phrase from the previous line, okay? And this repetition is just saying, first he's stating in the first half is that's what, if you hold the Yang, I mean, if you know the Yang and hold the Yin, then you'll become like this. Then now that's in section 1. That's in the first half. The second half, right? Right? Here's the first half, right? Okay. Then the second half, it repeats, right? This, okay, is to say, now that you've become this, then this, if, then the follows. Okay. That's the structure. Okay. For the next two sections, for all 3 sections. Okay. So, being the watercourse of the world, the eternal virtue does not depart, return to the state of the infant. Okay, so the first phrase is, if you can be like the watercourse that receives from all the rivers, from the first half of section 1, right? From the third phrase, this is the fourth phrase. Okay, so he's saying, if that, then this, okay? Then another understanding is that Tao cultivation is not a solitary activity. Positive interactions with people will lead you to the Tao. Okay. All right. Additional understanding. Okay. Though all the river valleys do not dictate that all the river waters must flow to the valley, the water courses flow in accordance with natural tendency. In this case, the law of gravity, right? But no matter whether the rivers flow by a circuitous route or not, that means take a detour, make detours. No matter how they flow, they will all end up in the valley. So this is the river water's natural inclination. Okay, that's the natural flow, the way. All right, now we go to the second phrase. Okay. Tang, we should all know it means constant, always, permanent, okay? Eternal, okay? All right. De, we should know it's virtue, right? That's Dao De, okay? All right. Basic meaning of second phrase. When your virtues have become completely natural, remember, just like the water course, right? So that's what the first phrase of this mean, right? Being the water course, then natural, when it's natural, right? You are always virtuous without having to try being virtuous, hence eternal virtue. It's part of your nature, okay? It's innate. You can say it's innate, right? It's intrinsic, okay, etc. Okay. Another understanding. Your virtues become part of you, so you can never lose them. So the virtues can never depart. okay? Or this is more specific. The broader is, you can say, you have virtually attained the Tao, okay? Okay, now, virtues, I mean, I didn't write it down here because it's extra, but these virtues, an example, what are example virtues? Okay, that's innate. Remember, that's part of you, right? That's, okay, that's natural. You know, you go back to Confucius, okay? What are the 5 constants, okay? And the 8 virtues. Those are it, okay? Right? The benevolence, righteousness, propriety, righteousness, wisdom, and faith, okay? Or sincerity, okay? All right, so those are examples, okay? So that's more specific, okay? But, you know, Lao Tzu is just saying broad, because virtue could also mean, I mean, it means wisdom too, but okay, so just broad, right? Okay, because Lao Tzu here is talking in very broad strokes, okay? All right, so that's, you know, just as a, you know, remember, okay, what are virtues? Well, example would be what Confucius talked about, right? The 5 constants and the 8 virtues, right? Okay, all right, so, okay. Now, the deeper meaning of eternal virtue, now here's the specific, is it represents the Tao virtues, okay? The virtues, the everlasting virtues, you know, things such as benevolence, humanity, if you will, conscience, you know, all that, okay? And it's also the beginningless, it's also the beginningless and endingless Buddha nature essence, and all its virtues. Yeah, okay, all the virtues of our Buddha nature essence. Okay, so, and then generally, in a very broad, generic sense, it just means it's the essence and the manifestations. So the Cang, right, means permanent, eternal, everlasting. So that represents the Tao, which is the essence. And the De are the manifestations of the Tao, or the essence, okay? All right, so that's 2 ways to look at it. One at a very specific and the one on a broad general level. Okay, deeper meaning of Buli. Buli means do not, right? We translate here, do not depart, right? Does not depart. Yeah, li, that's what it means. To depart, to leave behind, okay? But in this case, it means inseparable. It's together. It's, once again, this notion of oneness, okay? This idea of oneness. Okay, so deeper understanding of second phrase is, after the Buddha nature essence automatically manifests its functions and uses, then virtues will be displayed. Okay, so that's it's automatic. Okay, it's, you can say, spontaneous. Okay, all right. Okay, further understanding second phrase is, wow, this is long. Okay, because the essence of the Tao and the Buddha nature essence are formless, right? Because there's but the conducts we display have forms, right? We need to have the tangible actions be dictated by our formless Buddha nature, to be directed by the formless Buddha nature. This way, all the conducts conform to the Tao. This is called virtue, or Tao virtue. So yeah, so there's the link. You have to understand that there's a link. You know, so when we talk about the, you know, the 5 constants and the 8 virtues of Confucius, they're not independent of the essence of, or our Buddha nature. They flow spontaneously, or you can say naturally, from our Buddha nature. That's important. Okay, that's what makes those virtues eternal, everlasting, etc. Okay, okay, that's what we call them, Tao virtue. You can call it Tao virtue. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the third phrase, which is this, okay, which is return to the state of the infant, okay? All right, basic meaning is the state of the infant means that the most primal and pure you, your original essence, your true self, okay? Another understanding is to reconnect with the inner child, the core of your being that still retains your original innocence, the sense of wonder and joy, and unfettered, that means unrestrained, okay, or unconstrained creativity. So that's what it means by the infinite possibilities or potentialities. Okay. Additional understanding of the phrase is to return to the state of the infinite, is to rediscover what we already had, but have forgotten or neglected along the way as we, as we grow older. Okay, here's the deeper meaning of infant. Okay, remember this phrase, this term means infant, baby, toddler. Okay, the deeper meaning is our original state, our natural, pure, non-conditioned, unperturbed state of our Buddha nature, our source. Remember that stillness, right? That in first half of the first line, right? The yin and yang, the yin principle, right? So this is what represents, okay, that we have this still, unperturbed state. Okay, deeper understanding. An infant's movements and stillness are without thoughts, or you can say return to the simplicity of the Tao, right? Okay, remember, I think it was chapter 19. We talked about that, right? Chapter 19, which is return to simplicity, right, or plainness, right? Okay, chapter 19. All right. Further understanding. Third phrase. Whether an infant is moving, whether it's moving, whether it's still. The infant's mind does not say, now I want to move, now I want to be still. The infant take all things as they come in accordance with natural tendency. So that's the idea of being non-conditioned, right? Okay. Or the example of that, okay? So a higher understanding is that infant does not differentiate, does not separate, does not make separations, okay? Okay, so if we can be at one, that's the first phrase, then the essence and its innate virtues or intrinsic virtues are inseparable. And to return to an infant state is to have already returned to our original state, our Buddha nature state, that state of what? Non-conditioned, right? Non-conditioned, like the infant, right? Non-conditioned, okay? That's plain, that's simple, that's natural, okay? And that's the Tao, right? Okay, so all that comes from the Tao essence, from the Buddha nature essence, are all virtues. Since everything is manifested from the Buddha nature essence, it's already called constancy, okay? Eternal, okay? Eternal, everlasting, hence eternal virtue. This is to return to the state of the infant. Okay, so that's we're done with section 1. Okay, so he's talking once again the general, right? The general ideas, right? The yin and yang, the yang and yin. Okay, being the center, and you have the eternal virtue, and that's the state. Okay, that's the state. Okay. Same thing with section 2 now, okay? Similar, but he used different metaphors, examples, okay? Now, once again, these are in broad strokes. So, know the white, hold to the black, be the standard of the world, okay? White, okay, white, know the white, hold. Once again, right? That duality, right? Yin and yang, the complements, okay? So basic meaning. The white, what is the white? It denotes the high profile, the visible, okay? That which is highly visible, obvious, or at the surface level, like an external manifestation, to know when life and things are going well. That's what to know the white means. Another understanding, to know what is the state of material success and promise. So these are examples of the white, okay? Signify, okay? It's the metaphor for it. Another more understanding is to know a life of fame, wealth, and high status, right? That's the three pillars of most people, right? Right? They either have fame, have wealth, or have position, right? Okay. All right. Now there's a deeper meaning of white. It represents all the glories, splendors, wealth, and status of human existence. Okay. That's all the things that most people would strive for, right? Okay. So deeper understanding implies the smooth tests in life with its own set of challenges, though. There's potential for greater losses, right? The more money you have, the more wealth or glory or status, there's potential, right? The higher you go, the harder you fall, right? Okay, so all that. Then there's a higher stress level, okay, personally on a psychological and physical level. And then there are consequences such as neglect of family, friends, health, and spirituality, right? So even though you may have glory, splendor, wealth, and splendor, but they have their own set of challenges as well, okay? All right, further understanding. Although successful, you need to know that it also has its own set of potential pitfalls. That is, the more glory, splendor, wealth, and status you have, it can lead to arrogance, complacency, even more egocentrism, or manifestation of increased sense of ego, etc. So there's a need to be more humble, less self-boasting, self-display, less self-praise, etc. Okay, so that's what the white represents. Now, what's the black? The basic meaning is the low profile, essentially the opposite of what the white is, okay? The subtle approach, the unseen or unnoticed, to deal with life's setbacks and reversals, okay? All the negative stuff, okay? Another understanding is to hold onto the state of material deficiency and lack of distinction, not noticed, fade into obscurity, okay? So it's an additional is to hold to the life of obscurity, poverty, or low status, or failure, right? Now, the deeper meaning of black is this. This means difficulties, failures, poor and lowly, in straitened and humble circumstances, to have completely nothing, okay? So like the opposite of the white, right? Which is all the successes in life, okay? Okay, deeper understanding of the second phrase is to this, is that it implies the difficult tests in life, 逆考, okay? So, right, so there's you can say smooth tests in life, okay, when you're successful, et cetera. Now, but then once you are in, you have a difficult life or humble life or, life of failure, etc. Those are the difficult tests in life. With it, now it has its own set of challenges as well, such as struggling just to survive, right? To get through the day, living day to day, survival issues, obviously, right? Different from the white. But the further understanding is also this: it's although lowly and wanting of material things, you need to know that it has its own set of potential pitfalls also. This is sense of despair, lack of confidence, self-pity, etc. Need to have more sense of purpose, aspiration, and hope, right? Okay. So the additional understanding is that this Tao masters need to have both the black and white, the success and failure, both in order to manage the various aspects of life, the visible, high-profile method and approach, while holding on to the subtle, low-profile, internal work and preparation. Important to know the implications of success while holding on to the lessons of failure. Must know both the yang, once again, the yang and yin principle, just like in section 1, right? Talk about the masculine, the feminine, same idea. So he's just using different metaphors, okay, different sets of complements to describe, to talk about the same idea, okay? Okay, the last phrase means be the standard of the world, okay? So, okay, basic meaning is the example or model for the world, okay? So once you know the white and hold on to the black, you can begin example or model for the world, okay? So another example meaning is by being able to wield yin and yang together skillfully, we become the example or standard for others. Yeah, makes sense, right? Okay, now there's a deeper meaning of 是. 是 means, right, means form, okay? 是 means form, model, standard, okay? Okay, it's the heavenly standard. That's the higher level, okay? Or the heavenly way or code, okay? It's the way of heaven, okay? You can say the way of the Tao too, okay? Deeper. Okay, so deeper understanding is neither attached to the white or black, nor black. This is the middle way, once again, which is to already conform to the heavenly standard. Once again, talks about the middle path, the middle way. Okay, you don't just want one or the other, or you don't dwell on one side or the other side. In this case, black and white, right? Black or white. Okay, you don't You don't dwell on one or the other. Those are the extremes, right? Okay, but there's a balance, you can say, or a whole. Okay, and that is the middle way. Okay, and that middle way or path is in conformance with the Tao, the heavenly standard. Okay, further understanding. Being able to enter the middle path, so all the actions and conducts will not have any shortcomings. Okay, since nothing is deficient, then we will not create karma. Okay, so that's the key. Okay, so higher understanding is by knowing and holding both sides. That's the white and black. Able to know and able to hold, we are already in the center of the middle way. Okay, okay, so the white and black represent the dualistic nature of this world, just like the masculine, feminine, right? In section 1. So by not being attached to either of them is the heavenly standard, or you can say that's the middle path too. Okay, so so being already in accord with the heavenly standard, it will be easier to abide with the Tao, easier to perform and carry out, okay, actions. I should say carry out actions. Okay, all right. Okay, now, so that's the first half of section 2. Now we're going to the second half. So it just says, if we can be the example or set the example of the world, then it follows, okay? So the first phrase is, okay, to follow the middle path, once again, okay? So the second phrase, okay, the second word, this word, okay, wait, sorry, being the standard, okay, the eternal, okay, does not deviate, okay? So the last word of second phrase means to change, to make a mistake, etc., to error, okay? So the basic meaning of second phrase is the eternal virtue does not change, once again, right? That's why it's called eternal, everlasting, constant virtue, okay? Because it comes from our Buddha nature essence. It's the Tao, okay? It's come from the Tao, so that's why it doesn't change. Okay, another understanding, the second phrase is that here it is, okay? There's a specific one, which is the Tao within us is true and therefore does not deviate from the universal Tao. The internal reflects the external oneness, okay? So that's what it is. Remember, just like in section 1, I said all the virtues, right, comes from our Buddha nature essence, okay, or comes from that Tao, that formless Tao, right? So that's the eternal, right? The essence, right? The stillness part, right? And the external are the manifestations of the essence. In that case, it was virtue, right? In this case, we're talking about virtue. So the internal reflects the external, okay? Okay, so it's the oneness. It's linked, okay? It's together, okay? Okay, another understanding of the second phrase is this, okay? Now, this is the more general, right? Previous we described the specific about the Tao, okay? That's within us. The internal reflects the external. So in general, as the standard of the world, we demonstrate the truth of the Tao that it never deviates. It is the same in the ancient times as it is today. For example, the principle of the Tao is the same today as it was thousands of years ago. So that doesn't change, okay? So that's why. The sun rises and sets today, just as it did millions of years ago. That didn't change, okay? That's the nature, the tendency, right? The tendency of nature. Human nature today is prone to all kinds of pitfalls today, just as human nature was thousands of years ago. Same thing. We have the same frailties, same weaknesses, okay? Or same, you can say, shortcomings, right? Today, as humans have had, thousands of years ago, okay? So, but at the same time, human beings have vast potential today to better themselves, just as human beings did for millennia previously, okay? So that's the more general. These are the general, okay? So that's another way of describing why the eternal virtue does not deviate, okay? All right. Okay, the deep inner meaning of does not deviate is what? Not dualistic, non-duality, all right? Okay, all right. So to deeper understand the second phrase, being the heavenly standard, the eternal or the Tao virtue is non-dualistic. Once again, right? So just like the understand that from section 1, the eternal virtue is inseparable. It's non-dualistic. Okay, it's inseparable. Okay, it's the essence and the manifestation together. Okay, so to further understand the second phrase, the eternal or Tao virtue is changeless. Okay, now we come to the third phrase. Okay, to return to the state of Wuji. Okay, we translate here as boundless. Okay, even the Wuji has a specific meaning. Boundless it's a general meaning. Okay, so the last two words, Wuji, literally it means without boundary. Yeah, it means boundless or limitless. So it's the ultimate, the pure primal state, just like the infant, the state of the infant in section 1. Okay, so Wuji. Wuji just means, literally it means non-limit. Yeah, non-limit, unlimited. Yeah, Ji means the limit. Okay, or you can say boundary, the ultimate. Okay. Basic beginning is returning to the primal state. That's the Wuji. Okay, means spiritual liberation, being free from the boundaries of limits to become an unlimited individual. So you can say in Buddhism, the equivalent of Wuji would be 究竟状态, right? State of absoluteness, which there's no, it's really indescribable, but there's no duality. Okay, state of non-duality. Okay, you can say nirvana is similar if you want, but nirvana is more specific. Okay, all right. Another understanding of the phrase is this internal state, in this case, the black, right, affects everything we do externally. This is the white. So in failure, which is black, as well as success. Okay, so they're related, they're connected. Okay, once again. So additional understandings. The worldly realm has its norms or standards. So nature too has its standards or norms. Okay. So the deeper meaning of Wuji represents this. Okay, that's where it is. Represents our, once again, just like the infant, represents our beginningless and endingless Buddha nature essence state. Okay, it's the absolute state. Okay, the Dharma. It's not Dharma Dhatu. Yeah, you can say Dharma Dhatu, the absolute reality and non-duality. Okay, all right. Okay, so the deeper understanding of their phrases, to already return to the original state, that's the primal state, the absolute state, is return to the state of non-duality. Okay, so to be empty to its extreme point is to be at the Buddha nature essence state. Once again, okay, it has to be totally empty because that means there's no duality. Okay, so implications, already conforming to the heavenly way is to return to our absolute state. That's interesting, right? To the heavenly way, just like the heavenlies, just like the standard of the world, right? Same thing. The standard of the world is to return, right? From the previous series, being, or the water course, the water course is to return to the state, okay, of the infant. Same thing. So being the standard of the world is to return to the state of the boundless. Okay. All right. Okay. Conforming to the heavenly way. Okay. The standard. Okay. So the key point is this. Being able to set an example for the world is to demonstrate the eternal Tao is changeless and have the eternal reflect the external, the essence reflecting its functions or its okay, or in this case, the essence expressing the virtues, the eternal virtues, to return to our Buddha nature essence state, to become a limitless, liberated, and boundless individual. Okay, so that's section 2. Okay, so we're done with section 2. So it's basically reflecting the same theme as section 1. Okay, so just different ways. He's just using different ways to describe, right? Okay, the same. Now we go to section 3. It's going to be similar. Okay, it's going to be similar. Okay, all right. It repeats the similar. Okay, here's section 3. Okay, which is to know the honor and hold to the humility, be the valley of the world. Okay, so we know this word Ru. Okay, now it has two aspects, okay, two sides. It has a bad or negative quality, okay? It means disgrace, dishonor, okay? Selter, to be indebted, to disgrace, to him, okay, insult. But in this context, it means humility, humbleness, meekness, lack of false pride. So that's the good side, the good quality. It's interesting, okay, this rule, okay? All right, okay. Rong, means glory, okay? Glory, that's the white part, right? White, okay? And so this is the black, you can say, okay? The black part, okay? Using the metaphor from section 2, okay? So basic understanding, basic meaning is this. Mastery the Tao leads to excellent results in life, which can be recognized and honored. That's the glory part. But at the same time, you have to hold on to the Tao of humility, which is, you have to be humble, okay? All right, another understanding is to know the side of glory and honor and to maintain our sense of self-decency also, okay? Additional understanding is to know the side of the prosperous and bright future, but we should also maintain humility. That is the sense of calm and poise within us, okay? Now, there's deeper meaning of the glory, all right? Glory, honor, okay? Which is what? All things that we like and pursue, okay? Just like in section 2, the white, right? All the glory, the splendor, the wealth, the status, okay? All right. And then the deeper meaning of ru means all the things that we dislike and avoid, that we are averse to, okay? All right. So the deeper understanding of the first two phrases is to know not to reach for what is beyond one's grasp, not to be overly ambitious, okay? So Lao Tzu did not say you cannot be ambitious, but you don't overreach. You don't go to the extreme. Maybe that's another way of saying. And that's true in life, right? For everything. All right. So the further understanding is for two phrases is to hold on to original dignified state. That's what it means. To know the glory and the humility. Okay? So, and hold on to the humility. Okay? So the higher understanding of first two phrases, this means the course of our entire life is all within our grasp too. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the third phrase. Okay. Okay. Which is be the valley of the world. Okay. 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 This word, last word, it means valley. Okay. That's what it means. Okay. Now the basic meaning is that it's a metaphor for being open, receptive, accepting, accommodating, tolerant, etc. Okay. So another understanding is being able to accommodate diverse opinions different from your own, being very tolerant, accommodating. Another additional is beyond openness, okay, the acceptance and accommodating. The valley is also nurturing of the myriad things it contains. Thus the Tao Master is nurturing of everyone. You can say it's nurturing the teacher, right? That's chapter 27 we talked about, right? Okay. So the deeper meaning of gu, of valley, is having capacity for tolerance, forbearance, patience, forgiveness, etc. of others, okay? Deeper understanding is being accommodating, tolerant, and nurturing of everyone. It's just like the tolerance and compassion of a Buddha, okay? Further understanding, by nurturing our own capacity for tolerance and the nurturing of others, we will also nurture our vast moral integrity. Okay, so my understanding is to be able to serve others is to apply the virtue in serving others, or apply virtues in serving others. Okay, that's the same way. That's once again that notion of oneness, right? The internal reflecting the external, or it should be the external reflecting the internal. It depends on how you look. Okay, all right. So the implication is to nurture our capacity for tolerance and nurturing of others is by being willing to be taken advantage of others. Yeah. Okay. So we don't, how can I say, haggle over little minor things. Okay. We're willing to accept being taken advantage. Okay. So once again, all right. So that's not easy. Okay. That's not easy. Okay. All right. Okay, key point, knowing glory and honor and still maintaining humility That's the first two phrases of this section, is to be tolerant and nurturing of everyone, like the rivers flowing to the valley. So it's like being a valley, okay? So that's the first half. That's the first half of section 2, okay? Or 3, sorry, okay? Now we're going to go to section, the second half, okay? Okay, second half. So first phrase, okay, for being the valley of the world, the eternal virtue shall be sufficient. Return to the state of the plain wood. Okay, yeah, or the virgin wood. Some people translate as virgin wood. Untouched, it means unprocessed, okay? Basic meaning, if you can become accepting, open, and nurturing, then the following, right? Okay, so additional understanding is able to be tolerant and compassionate like the Buddhas, okay? All right, basic meaning of second phrase. When you are able to be the valley, embodying all of its characteristics, you will find that you don't need anything more than the eternal virtue, which is already equipped in the permanent, changeless Buddha nature itself. Yeah, okay? So that's the second, okay? That's what this means, okay? That means shall be sufficient, okay? All right, the eternal virtues shall be sufficient, okay? All right, here's an understanding. Okay, this comes from your original nature is completely sufficient by itself, or completely self-sufficient. Remember or recall this phrase, who would have thought that the self-nature is intrinsically self-sufficient? Right? 何其自性本自具足. Okay, that's from Sixth Patriarch, Platform Sutra, Chapter 1, Autobiography. Okay, so that's one phrase. Okay, he made 5 phrases. Okay, actually 6. There's one preceding that, but this is when Sixth Patriarch Huineng became enlightened. That's when he became totally enlightened. That's okay, and he said these words. Okay, all right. Additional understanding of second phrase. The eternal virtue is the changeless, virtuous nature of our true nature, our innate qualities of the eternal Buddha nature essence, which is sufficient for all our needs. Okay, that's and the reason for that is why? Because all manifestations, all external things, are dependent. Okay, and they don't have their own essence, okay? But they come, so being conditioned or dependent, they come from where? From something, which is that eternal essence, which is our Buddha nature essence. So therefore, if everything comes from our Buddha nature essence, then that means what? Our Buddha nature essence is sufficient for everything, right? Because everything comes from it, right? There's nothing that's beyond it, okay? Or the essence, okay? Now, the last phrase, okay, is return to the state of the plain wood, okay? It's another metaphor, okay? So, pu, okay? Now, this could be it could be a noun or an adjective. In this case, it's noun. It means unprocessed lumber, unrefined wood, virgin wood, okay? Literally, it can mean honest, plain, rough, simple, etc., unpretentious. Okay. Now this term appears 8 times in this Tao Te Ching. Okay, this is already the 3rd time. Okay. It'll repeat twice, right? Chapter 19 and I think chapter 15. Okay. All right. Okay. So basic meaning: return to the natural state, like the virgin wood. Return to the original state of simplicity, right? Just like that infant, and the state of non-duality, the uji, the pure primal state. This phrase means the same as return to the state of the infant, that's the first section, and the primal state, the second section, okay? So another meaning of their phrase is the realization of self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency frees our minds from the fear of inadequacy, which is what drives most people to chase